It was already early evening when the small group arrived in the beach village of Wacoralis. They had followed the beach of light and had finally reached their destination. During all this time, none of them had said a word. The entrance to the village was guarded by 2 men, but they did not seem to be knights. The 2 blocked the way of the small group and did not let them in. "Stop! Horses don't come to the village. That's even written here on the sign, see?" One of the 2 men pointed to a wooden board that says horse ban. "Are they serious? And now?" Sasha didn't seem to like the thing either, and she took the floor. "Why is a horse ban being introduced? The last time I was here it didn't exist. What's the point of that? And what should we do now? Wait here until you lift the ban? Pfft!" Sometimes she really is a bit too temperamental, but that's just the way she is. Besides, she has the element of lightning and it really suits her tremendously well. Cheyenne liked her friend just the way she was, even if her cheeky nature would get her into trouble one day. But that's exactly what was special about Sasha. She took the liberty to say just everything she thought directly and honestly, and the girl appreciated that very much. The 2 men seemed to feel a bit intimidated, and one of them willingly gave answers to the questions asked. "Ah, young woman, please spare us a little. We have only recently established the ban because lately so many knights have been passing through here on their horses. They don't take anything into account and sometimes even ride people over. The thundering hoofs at full gallop do not necessarily suit the thin stone slabs, and as you can see, our city is designed for them. Without the slabs we would not be able to build houses on the uneven sandy ground. Humph, the knights don't care about us when they get through here. The sand passage starts from this village, as you may know if you have already been here before, and for some time now, knights from Halonia have been riding here and vice versa every day. Almost every week we have to change the stone slabs because they are broken or have a crack. It costs money, time, and a lot of work to replace them. That's why there is now a riding ban for all people who do not belong to the knights. Thus, the stone slabs cannot be additionally damaged and at least last a little longer. We know that this is not the solution for everything, and our mayor is already looking hard for another way, but thicker stone slabs are far too expensive for us. We cannot afford that. First of all, this horse ban has to serve. Sorry. You can complain to the knighthood for this, but please leave us out of the game. We are just doing our job. Oh yes, you can tie the horses to the post over there, then we can let you into the village. Forgive the circumstances." Sasha was insightful, but she still had a question. "Damn tin cans! And what if we want to cross the sand passage to Halonia? Do we have to go over on foot if the horses stay here?" The 2 men looked at each other. Then the one who had not yet said anything gave the young woman an answer. "Don't you know that it's not possible to cross the sand passage at the moment? Ordinary citizens are no longer allowed to travel to Halonia, only the knights, because they are looking for someone here in Luminastrel and do not want this person to leave the continent. That's why they have positioned some men at the entrance to the sand passage. Apart from that, the crossing is currently far too dangerous. The waves are very strong, tons of demons cavort there, and in some places you sink in. A few of the knights have even died during the crossing. If the demons did not attack them, they were devoured by the waves or quicksand. It was never as bad in the past as it is now. At the passage you really notice the imbalance of the world is increasing more and more and demands its tributes. Terrible." Now Sasha looked at the ground and seemed to be haphazard. She probably didn't expect that. Glaczio, who was sitting on the horse behind her, jumped down and walked past the guards into the village. He raised his hand in farewell but did not look back. "Well then, have fun, you 2 pretty bunnies. I really wish you with all of my heart that you find a solution to your problem. Farewell." Cheyenne sighed and Sasha slowly shook her head, but then she seemed glad that he was finally gone. The young woman thanked them and turned her horse towards the post, which were a little further to the side of the entrance. The girl did the same. When they arrived at the tethering station, they dismounted and fastened the reins to it. Then Sasha stood next to Cheyenne, next to whom Adukas was sitting, and since they were out of earshot of the 2 guards, she consulted with her about what they could do next. "Okay, I think we have a problem. It's no use, we have to cross this sand passage. There's no other way. especially when the tin cans are already taking such precautions and sealing off entire continents to get their hands on you. What are they thinking? After all, other people have to go to Halonia as well. Well, if it's really that hard to cross the passage, no one does it anyway, but still. At least the village won't be full of them, because they are stationed at the passage anyway. There would be no point in looking for us if they could simply cut us off and intercept us. And I guess the metal idiots know we're here. They've seen that we left Saralay for the sandy beach. They are too stupid for anything with their pea-brains, but I trust them to draw a logical conclusion, at least in this matter. But the plan with cutting off the path, it has to come from one of the rulers, because that's pretty clever and the lesser knights can't just block off a continent. Then it can only be Atropax's plan, because the ruler of Luminastrel has an insane power, but instead of the brain only a wire so that his ears don't fall off. You don't want to get to know him. He's by far the biggest idiot there is. I'm eagerly waiting for the day when I can rob this damned bastard of his life. General Agamemnon is just a bloodthirsty, instinct-driven, lousy idiot who is known for his cruelty. If the goddess really exists, I pray to her that you will never meet him. He has already destroyed enough innocent lives. Cheyenne noticed that her friend, who was now looking down, had begun to tremble when she spoke of the ruler Luminastrels. But the girl didn't know whether out of anger or because of something else. After all, she had heard this name before in Saralay from the 2 knights who had attacked Glaczio, and Sasha had flinched. Cheyenne wanted to know more about the ruler, but she didn't ask when she saw that the young woman's eyes were watering a little. This Agamemnon must have something to do with Sasha's past, and it did not seem to have been a nice experience. The girl looked at her friend sympathetically. She seemed to notice this and turned away from Cheyenne towards the horses. So you couldn't see her face anymore, and you couldn't see whether she was actually crying. She tried to have a strong voice. Okay, Cheyenne, our plan for now is as follows. I'm going to try to sell these horses, because without Glaczio they won't give us anything for free and will certainly be able to use some money. The village is not very big and you are safe from knights for the time being. There are a few market and souvenir stalls. You could look around there, and when you're done, wait for me at the beach wall. Adokas, I'm counting on you to protect Cheyenne while I'm away, okay? The fairy wolf whined and barked softly in confirmation. Sasha nodded. Good. See you later, you two. Cheyenne also said goodbye and went to the entrance to the village. Adokas trotted by her side and nudged her with his muzzle. I actually want to go with Sasha, but she was just so confused. It was good that I didn't contradict her. I think she's someone you'd rather leave alone in such a situation. Although I would have liked to comfort her somehow, as she always does with me. Maybe I should have stayed with her after all? But maybe she would have reacted like Glaczio, and I want to avoid that. She always tries to be so strong and succeeds, but I forget that it might look completely different inside her. She's always so cheerful, you don't even think that she has a difficult past. I wonder what this Agamemnon had to do with her. He is a ruler after all. Why does she know one of our enemies? But with her, at least I know that she is on the side of the Shadow Servants and that I can trust her. This time Cheyenne would have to be patient until Sasha told her what had happened on her own. The girl walked past the guards and entered the village. The pale pink, blue and yellow stone slabs actually looked very battered, but were still beautiful. The village had a manageable market square, about 10 stalls, which were lined up in a row on the left, as soon as you entered the village square. On the right there was a small restaurant and some small wooden houses in both directions. If you looked straight ahead, the last part of the Beach of Light caught your eye, which was separated from the village by a wide, small wall of different colored pale stones, on which a few people were sitting. Through a few steps you could get to the beach. As it was already evening, the fishermen returned with their boats and tied the means of transport to posts on a small wooden walkway, so that they would not be driven away. It smelled of fresh fish and salt. Cheyenne was about to go to the markets when she saw Glaczio. In front of him stood a pretty slender woman with brown hair who looked at him reproachfully. She was about the same age as the healer. The girl didn't care at all what he was doing, but in order to get to the market stalls she would have to walk past him, and she wanted to avoid that. So she stopped and stroked Adukas a bit. She hoped that Glaczio and his acquaintance would soon go somewhere else, and waited. She didn't have to concentrate much to hear what the two were saying. The woman seemed to be extremely angry. "Why did you just run away without saying a single word? I was sick with worry. I waited so long for you back then, and you just didn't come. Did you stand me up?" Glaczio took the woman's hands and looked into her eyes, but she turned away, blushed, and let him stroke her hair. She shook her head and let out an angry whisper. "This number doesn't work for me anymore, so please finally listen to me like this with your beautiful eyes. And tell me the truth. You don't look like you had any difficulties. So, what was going on? It's true, isn't it? You really stood me up." The healer, whose wound on his face had now completely disappeared, gave an answer to his acquaintance. "I would never stand you up, my beautiful butterfly. How do you come up with something like that? I had something to do and had to leave as soon as possible. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to let you know. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. It won't happen again, I promise. I would never stand you up. There's only you in my life. You know that, my breathtaking beauty. If you don't have anything planned later, would you spend your time with me? I missed you so much. We could go to the beach and listen to the waves." Glaczio had meanwhile taken the woman in his arms and seemed to know exactly what he had to do to convince her. Although she didn't look completely happy yet, it seemed to be enough for her, because she let him have his way and enjoyed the hug. Cheyenne didn't know how to behave. On the one hand, she really had to hold back not to laugh, because Glaczio had sucked up so enormously and talked so much nonsense that it was just funny. Because the girl knew exactly that every word was a lie, and that almost made her feel nauseous. She felt sorry for the poor woman, who probably didn't even know that he was making such a fool of her. The healer had spoken to her quite convincingly, but Cheyenne had seen with her own eyes how he had flirted with the girl in Saralay, and she had experienced it herself, as had Sasha. However, she would not interfere. Pfft, because this woman there is his only love. Such nonsense. How can you lie so coldly? Maybe it's because of his element, but doesn't he even have a guilty conscience? Cheyenne apparently stared at the woman in Glaczio's arms the whole time, apparently with a look she didn't like, and she broke away from the young man. "Tell me, do you know this girl? She's been staring over here the whole time." The healer turned his head a bit and looked at the girl out of the corner of his eye, immediately squinting his visible eye and turning back to his acquaintance. "Why should I know her? Maybe she's confusing me with someone, or it's her hobby staring at people. Strange, isn't it? Ah, you surely want to know something about my trip. I can tell you one thing right now. I've met a lot of strange people. The girl there is nothing yet. So let's go for a walk." Cheyenne just couldn't help but put on a stunned look, roll her eyes and shake her head. But the woman saw her behavior, and it was apparently enough for her to realize that Glaczio had lied. "So you don't know her, huh? But I think she looks like she knows you pretty well. I knew something was wrong here. You must have moved me back then, and you must have had something with her. Admit it. You cheated on me, you fucking bastard." Ah, the idea that I could have something with him is terrible. How does this woman come up with such a thing? Oh dear, I think this thought will haunt me for a long time, until my dreams. Even more nightmares than before. Cheyenne shuddered. The woman pushed Glaczio away from her, wanted to slap him in the face, but then changed her mind and ran away. "Oh, not good." The healer turned around, and the girl was already afraid that he would throw some mean things at her again. But he held back and didn't say anything at all. But then he decided to do it after all. "Hey, I'm really proud of you. Thank you very much. Well, do you have what you wanted now? If you intended to spoil the rest of the day even more, then you achieved your goal. Congratulations. Are you happy now?" Cheyenne couldn't look at him anymore. She hated him, but it hadn't been her intention to spoil his mood. She didn't really care what he did, and she should actually be happy. After all, the woman had understood what an idiot Glaczio was, and such a rub-down would be fine for him. but the girl hadn't done herself any favors, because she was now plagued by a guilty conscience. Arukas growled at the healer again until he sighed and went to the beach.